Welcome to How Long is a Piece of String in AL? Hey, I'm Eric, and today's video is a therapy session for myself because I ran into a very strange issue that is, when I figured it out, it was clear as a sunny day in British Columbia, but PC had me fooled for a while. So let me take you on a little adventure here, and I promise this is kind of entertaining. Perhaps at least you can have a bit of laugh on my expense, or you might learn something. So the whole thing started with not really with a web browser. No, the whole thing started with I needed to speak to a web service. And when we do this, we use the HTTP client. We send a request. That's HTTP request. We get a response back. That's an HTTP response. In this case, we need to post something, so we need some content. So that's HTTP content, and we probably need to set some headers. So that's HTTP headers. Now we got one of each. We're off to a good start. We just create one variable of each type, and then boom, we go. A valid request requires a couple of things. It requires a place to call. So we'll just call Microsoft.com. It doesn't. In this case, it does not really matter at all. You'll see that in a second. We need to say that the method, what method we're doing, and we're doing post. If you're using, so eventually what we're going to do down here is then we're going to say if client.send, then request comma response, then if this works, and right now I will assume it does not work. So if this works, you should not see this message, then Eric messed up. Or if client.send fails, then get last error text, so we can see why it fails. So if we ask Microsoft why does in what case does client.send fail, actually ask completely unrelated to this thing. Apparently I end up in the same spot all the time. I asked Microsoft this, and they were super cool and actually went through the code and looked, and then they updated the Microsoft learn.microsoft.com and saying, here, these are the ways the HTTP client.send can fail. The request URI is not an absolute URI. It is. We saw that. The chosen method is not supported. I'm pretty sure post is supported. The request failed due to an underlying issue such as network connectivity, DNS failure, server certificate violation, or timeout. We'll get back to that one. There's a fraction of the internet who says it's always DNS. I don't think that's the case in this case. And the last one says the request failed due to a timeout. So we got two types of timeouts, because timeout is quite often what's happening. Anyway, so now we know what we need to avoid to have a valid client.send request. So we want to post something. So in order to post something, we need to have something. So let's create some data. So data equal, it's Microsoft. We will send 3 skulls. Or maybe we're gonna send, maybe we send 3 hearts to them, just in case. Data needs to be packaged into a content, so we can do a content dot, and here's the weird thing, we need to do write from. A read as, a write from. This function has the weirdest naming convention that goes against everything else in AL. Anyway, we will put this in here, and then whenever whenever you do a post, there's typically servers on the other end are quite picky, so you might need to add headers. So we'll just quickly get the headers that are associated with this content, and then we'll add a header, just to be a good internet citizen. So we will add the header called content length, and we'll do format string length data. There you go, that looks very nice. And then we need to say request content equal content. Boom. So we want to do a post call to Microsoft.com. We do Microsoft.com, we do post, we build up our content, we add the content we request, we send it. So let's send it. Need to log in, of course. Uh-oh, we got a break here. Let's just hit F5. Uh-oh, there was an error while executing the HTTP request. Make sure you are connected to a valid endpoint. Okay. But so this is wrong. But I'm pretty sure this is a valid endpoint. So what is wrong? And not to, no, I don't want to keep this as a suspense, but there is a problem here. And let me show you what the problem is. So let's not add the content length header. Run this again. Well, I didn't mess up. Or maybe I messed up because now I did not send the content. So this worked, right? This call worked. There were no content length. So as soon as I add the content length, something is refusing to talk with, I guess, and it happens so fast. So I see. Hang on. Even though Microsoft.com, of course, is served by CDNs and what's not, it was very fast. So let's take a look at this content link thing. We could let's do message, and then let's pass this one, because apparently this one is the problem. Oh, we got the break, so we need to 12. But hang on, something is not right. So this is 12, but I clearly added 6 characters here. Okay, so let's not be cute and use skulls and hearts for a second in here. Let's add Business Central rules. Oh, here we go. $23, and it worked. Okay. So let's, and this is 1, 2. Why did I type something that long? That was not very clever of me. Can't remember. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here's the. I've been living in Canada for way too long. No, not way too long. But I cannot count in English fast. I can count in Danish fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23. So it was correct. But before it says 12 when we had the skulls. and the hearts. So here is the problem, that when we're working inside Business Central, we are working in Unicode. And in Unicode, some characters are represented, most characters are represented in 16 bits. Some are represented in more than 16 bits in this case. So 16 bits is 1. So if I do this one, that is 1 character. But if I do a heart, that's 2 characters. But it's actually more than 2 because one of them is 16 bits. And what happens here, that when we send this content off, that behind the scene, Microsoft is actually changing this into UTF-8. So the question suddenly becomes, what is the length of this thing in UTF-8? And we don't have an overload to string lane saying, hang on, what is this, the length of this in a different encoding? So the only way to get around this is to figure out what is the length. So in this case, if we send a heart, you can see, let's send it here. We get the breakpoint, we go, it says 2, but it's mad at us, right? So let's just override and say, maybe the heart is 3. Or maybe it's 4, but instead of string length, then just do a 3 here, right? We run that again. We get the breakpoint. 2, 3 is still valid, so let's see, maybe the heart is 4. Still erring. 4 is not good either. Maybe the heart is 5 bytes. Maybe I give up. 2. Let's see. Maybe the heart is 6. Yes. So the heart is not. BC says 2. 6 seems to be the right from the .NET platform. So can we create a string length function that will calculate the UTF-8 length of a string? And actually we can. So let's try that. So let's create a function here. Procedure string length UTF-8. It takes a string, right? And returns an integer. So how do we do that? Well, you know, in AL we have text encoding. We can say that something is text encoding 8, UTF-8. So what we could try to do is that let's create a temp blob. And then we need a outstream. So we'll create the outstream here, and then we'll take the outstream.write text, and then we will write the text into the stream, and then we'll exit the length of the temp blob. Boom. But what we can do here is then we say create outstream, that we can say that, hang on, there's actually, let's see, there's actually an overload to this one that adds the encoding. So I can do text encoding UTF-8, saying that, okay, convert to UTF-8 when you're writing into the blob, meaning that what we get into the blob is UTF-8, UTF-8 format. Meaning that if we go up here and then I'll do string length, that was data, like that, and then we'll do something like this. So we'll tell what is the, let's just remove the format here because we don't really need that. So string length equal that one and UTF-8 equal that one. Here we go. So BC says that this is too long. UTF-8 says that this is 6, which we just figured out by a very scientific method 5 minutes ago. That was the right answer, and it works. So back to my story, that it turned out that I got the weird, the connection something was wrong with the connection, and it turned out that I had made another change in something that changed the content of what I was sending off in a post from being basically already UTF-8 encoded to be Unicode inside Business Central, and then Business Central converted to UTF-8 on the fly. But I just string length that and send that with the request, which always worked because previously I did the encoding myself. Now I kind of assumed Microsoft would do it, and they did. But then I supplied the wrong length and got the super weird error. So this, I thought, was a pretty nice way of figuring out how long is a string when it's UTF-8 compared to what we have inside Business Central. That's my little adventure into the length of strings. I actually think that I'm probably not the first one running into this issue, and sure, Microsoft has a weird error message bubbling up. That should probably be a better error message bubbling up. When they have a nice and quiet afternoon, they're probably going to fix that anyway. But I think we probably need an overload to string length. Okay, totally bonus content. When you have a string, we have all these new functions on strings, but we don't have a length here. You cannot do string.length for some reason. Maybe that's what we need, and that one would have an encoding overload. That would be nice. That would be very nice. Anyway, here, ladies and gentlemen, is another video just for you. Go check it out. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.